Hi there, I have a channel message for you for your highest good, and I trust that this video found you at the right time. I have a feeling that this is going to be a very interesting reading. I feel like every other day I talk about self-care. So there's definitely a collective out there that I think really is used to getting things done and likes to get things done, which is not a bad thing at all. But I today have pulled the Moth Spirit in reverse. The card says surrender now, and the moth is all about transformation. It's number 39, which might be relevant here, or the number 63 might be relevant, and I'm definitely getting 333, 999, or 12 and 21. So there might be some kind of a cycle here that is ending, or there could be some sort of a new cycle that you're moving into, as some of these cards would suggest. But this Moth Spirit in reverse card, it speaks about addictive tendencies and a need to be really honest about compulsive action, and instead acting from a place of moderation and self-care. I'm just going to read a little bit of this because there was a line that I really liked. It said, "Now is a time to do a fearless inventory so that your addictive tendencies can be toned down and rechanneled into enthusiastic activity in moderation. You are not a machine. Listen to Moth Spirit's message that a change is needed to support your well-being." So, as I said, I feel like every other day I do talk about self-care. But in preparing for this reading, I did see that I feel like you are in a position currently, or you're coming from a place where you feel like you need to sort of put your emotions to the side here just for a minute, or tone down your emotions because you feel like you need to gain more physical stability. Because you're potentially being a bit left out in the cold, or there's some sort of a lack of abundance or physical stability. So I don't want to downplay or disregard that. I feel like you are a very instinctual person, and I feel like you're very connected to source energy and the higher realms and your higher chakras. I do feel like you have a deeper understanding of how this whole thing works in this world. But there's definitely a need for honesty here, and potentially you could be acting from a past place or past traumas here, and some sort of old cycle that you don't want to go back to. And it's good to get things done and move towards physical stability. I'm not going to disregard that. But I do think that you could be intentionally, and I don't know how consciously aware of this you might be, but you might be not looking at the details here because there's some maybe things that might be a little bit painful, or you so badly do not want to go to this past place that anything that might suggest that you're not moving forward into this new cycle in your life, or this new part of your life, any kind of suggestion that that's not happening might be very painful for you. So I just want to say too, don't act from a place of desperation, because if you're feeling desperate, that would imply a lack of faith and a lack of co-creation here. So do know that Source definitely is supporting you in this change, and I think the change is for the better. But I just get the feeling that maybe there's something about being supported here, and maybe negative views around being the person that has to rely on other people. And I feel like you might prefer to be seen as somebody who doesn't like to rely on people, and you may potentially feel like you're a burden, or you don't want to burden other people with your problems. And that's why you're really, instead of leading from an emotional place right now, you might feel like that's not needed and that there's work to be done so that you don't have to rely on other people. And I'm getting to that potentially in the past, you may have had to rely on people or a person. So this could be a relationship or a job or something. Or you've had to rely on an old situation that may have then hurt you, or there may have been some sort of transactional relationship, or it could have been somebody that was really unpredictable, I'm getting. And it's like, yeah, I'm just getting that this old situation was providing you with physical stability, but then it was draining you in other ways, or making you feel unsafe in other ways, or making you feel not heard. And this has now caused you to move away from that situation, and you are very focused on creating your own stability. And potentially you didn't have all of the details figured out, but you are just instinctually working towards a new life where you can rely on yourself, and you are putting in the steps and putting in the work to get there. And I think you would much rather be the person that can support other people and can help other people, because I think that you know that you have a good heart and you're not going to mistreat people. And if you've come from a place where you've been provided for, but it was potentially very conditional and you had to act a certain way to get that physical support, you're thinking, well, I'm not that person, and I would rather be seen as me, my authentic self, because I know that I'm a good person, and I want to be in a position where I can help other people and I'm not going to take advantage of other people, which is a really good thing, and I see that. But there is definitely a need to slow down a bit and look at the details of what you're doing and really be honest with yourself here. And like the Moth card was saying, really take inventory into your compulsive behaviors and everything that you're doing right now, and really asking yourself, am I doing too much? And am I headed for a place where I could get burnt out here? In the form of advice, I did pull a few moon cards that do suggest that the energy is gaining momentum and what you're working towards is coming into fruition. So like I say, it's not a bad thing, and there definitely is a need to move here and get things done. But like I said, don't not look at the details. Like, definitely reevaluate how you're doing things and make sure you're getting very practical and honest with yourself. And this card here, the full moon in Leo, did say don't let pride get in your way. So there's definitely a need to let go of this need to look a certain way. And in your like overall energy and the thread that's sort of connecting you and your situation, I did pull the Six of Wands. So I really feel like it would maybe serve you to not worry too much about how you look to other people, and try not to worry too much about having to rely on people for now. Because if you want to be that person that helps other people, how do you feel about the people that you're helping? And be really honest about yourself. Like, do you look down on them? And not in a bad way, but I just feel like life moves in cycles, and sometimes we just need help, and that's like a part of life. So if you're being put in a situation where you need help, that doesn't necessarily mean that you've done the wrong thing. It just could just be a test or something that's part of your journey currently in life. And like I say, like, sometimes we just need to rely on other people, or people need to rely on us, and that's part of it. And there's definitely balance needed here. And I get not wanting to be that burden all the time, or spend the rest of your whole life having to rely on people. Like, I totally get that. But don't be afraid to ask for help here, and keep working through the process I'm getting. And just keep doing what you're doing in the physical, but don't focus too much on the lack. And I'm getting, be grateful for what you do have currently. You are moving into a new phase. That much is guaranteed. But like I say, like, I just feel like maybe old situations around having to rely on people have left a bit of a sour taste in your mouth. And try not to be too deceptive, I'm getting, with yourself. As the Seven of Swords in reverse just popped out as I'm saying that. It's like, really don't be deceptive with yourself, and be honest with yourself. It's kind of what I was saying. And Ace of Wands, like, just work towards this new start, this new life. Like, the Moth is all about transformation. And you can take all of these good things about yourself that you have currently, like, you're an instinctual person, I'm getting. Like I was saying, you're connected. You understand how life works. You can sit in the promise for source and know that it's coming. Like, I'm getting, you're a passionate person. You're not necessarily, I'm getting, you are okay. And the Nine of Cups here popping out, I'm getting, is that, like I was saying, you are very open to synchronicity and what source has for you. And you are okay with sitting in the unknown. And I feel like maybe that's why that Fool card came out before. Like, maybe it's gone a little bit too much the other way now. Like, you're like, okay, the unknown actually feels kind of good, because I don't have to really look at these details. And I'm getting emotional details here. And it's like, I feel like if you can move on from maybe the need to not rely on people, and the need to always get things done, and always be moving, and always working towards a goal, so that you can feel like stable, and you can feel like you don't have to rely on people. If you can let go of that, I feel like there's going to be a lot more emotional fulfillment than you're currently used to or expecting. So they all just started flying out, but I just want more information about the situation that you're currently currently in. So I really do feel like that you've been burnt. Like, there's somebody that you've relied on, or a job or something, that has just made you feel a certain way. And now you could just really be looking through this lens of like, I don't want to have to rely on anybody, because I know I'm not going to make myself feel like that. And I really feel like you're an emotional person who's just currently like, okay, the emotions aren't super needed right now, and I'm just going to put my head down and work, because I want more coins, I want more stability. I'm just really getting that. But let's get more information about this situation that you're in currently. Yeah, it's like it's like you really don't want to have to conform to what other people need you to be in order to feel stable. I'm really getting that with the Five of Swords in reverse coming out here. And you are moving towards something that looks a little more like this. Is really your goal here, and it's on your mind, and you could potentially just be holding on to that idea of stability a little too much. And I'm kind of called to say here that when you like, and I understand that it's not easy, and it doesn't feel good to not feel stable. Like, I understand that, but life is always moving, and you do have that connection to source and that higher knowledge and that higher knowing. So do remember that there's more to life. And when you do get to this place, which is not a bad place to be, but you are going to want to keep moving when you get there. Like, you might start to feel a little bored with that. And I know that sounds ridiculous to say that if you're feeling lack. But I did mention earlier that there may be a need to really look at what you do have And it can be really useful if you are feeling that lack energy and feeling like you don't have enough in the physical, is just to really take stock of like what you do have. Maybe in the form of like your current relationships and more supportive relationships, even if it's not physically supportive. Maybe you have maybe you have relationships that are more emotionally supportive. 15:15 on the clock as I was saying that. So I really feel like it would be good to really focus on how grateful you are to have those emotionally fulfilling relationships or that support in your life. And the 15th card is the Devil card, which has popped out. So it's like, I feel like what I'm getting is that I feel like that focusing on lack is a very dangerous thing. And it's like here with the Two of Swords, like, you have to make a choice to not think about the lack. And I'm really getting that you're aware of this. I just feel like you are a spiritual person. And it's like the need for a different perspective here is like, I feel like you already have that different perspective that is needed. So it's not like you need to go looking for something else and wondering. It's like you're wondering, have I done something wrong? And is there something else that I need to do here to get this physical stability? I'm really getting that. But I'm going to say that, like, no. And with the Knight of Wands in reverse, it's like there's a need to not worry too much about your actions and am I taking the right action, or do I need to take more action or a different action? Like, I keep seeing this fire card. It's like you're a passionate person. But maybe it's less important to focus on that. And it might serve you better to focus on the things that you're holding on to that you know are toxic for you and bad for you. And you may have some kind of an addiction to work or a substance I'm getting, or just something. I'm getting the phone, and it's like, maybe sit and be really honest with yourself about what you're doing and more of the compulsive tendencies that you have. And look, in society, we're all addicted to things, and we have things that aren't serving us, but we do it anyway. And all of it is just a process, and we're all moving through that on different levels, and we're always expanding to different levels here. So don't worry too much about what you're doing, because I feel like you're moving in the right direction, and there's no need to doubt if you're doing the right thing or headed in the right direction, because you are. It's just a matter of looking back at the things that aren't serving you and really working on letting go of those things. And then I'm getting that the physical stability is going to come in quicker than you think. You have these goals, and I feel like the goals are good. And the vision that you have is good. This Vix Moon card came out before. It does say hold your vision. Oh my gosh, that just fell down. I'm not getting that card back. But this one does say hold your vision. So I feel like your vision is the right one, and you're being supported in this by Spirit. And it also says you're very close to achieving your goal here, Gibbous Moon. So, like I said, don't worry too much about are you on the right track. Just be really honest with yourself here. And it's like, are you holding too much just on this idea that relying on people is a bad thing? And maybe the ego just needs to sort of go away for a second here and stop informing your decisions. So can I get more advice on that? And maybe like, how can we let go of these things? And how can we move into this new life a bit quicker by not holding on to these things that we know are not good for us, these toxic things? How can we make it easier to let go here? I'm filming this on a Tuesday, which is ruled by Mars. So it's like your passions. It's good to be a passionate person, and I feel like that's really gotten you to where you are in life now. And don't lose that. I'm not saying don't be passionate, but that can really feed into those compulsive behaviors, and it can really feed that other side of the spectrum, maybe where you don't want to go. And it can be a really good thing to be more logical here and just be really honest with yourself. So it's like, don't rush too much into this change. And I'm feeling like it's okay to go slow here. Even if going slow and focusing on these things that aren't serving you, even if focusing on these things that aren't serving you may bring you a lot of discomfort and you feel like it's going to slow down your progress, it's actually going to make things go quicker than you realize. I'm getting. And I'm definitely getting that the emotional work is just so super necessary here. And this Six of Cups coming out really makes me think, like, don't hold on to the past too much. And this past situation that I was talking about, where you had to rely on somebody and it's created like an emotional instability in your life, or it's kind of scarred you a bit. Like, I'm really getting, try not to focus on that, because it's sort of obscuring the way you're seeing things, and it's really not serving you. I feel like looking at this old relationship, as difficult as it might be, really isn't serving you in your highest good here, and it's not something you want to take into the future. Because, like I was saying, like, we all have to rely on people sometimes, and there can be a healthy amount of accepting help. And if you don't want to accept help from people, I mean, people are, I understand they're people in the 3D, but we're all source energy and we're all connected to source. So if you don't want to get help from other people, or you feel like it's not safe, or you don't want to be seen as someone who's a burden, you really could be sending that vibrational message to source and communicating to source that you don't want help, which is really, I'm going to say, dangerous here, like, because you are co-creating and you do need source to take that step with you as you step through life with source. You really got to be open to accepting help in all forms here, whether it's from other people or synchronicity or whatever. And the Eight of Cups in reverse here, I'm really getting, like I was saying before, don't be too quick to move on into this new life, because it is coming and it will come in the right time. But if you try to move on too quickly, you're going to miss all of these details. And it's like the new life that you're moving into, it might look, or it might end up being a lot harder than you want it to, this new life. And I feel like you really want this new life to be easy, because you do want stability and you do want to feel safe. But it's like, it's really time to let go of the need to just do it on your own. And I do feel like there's a danger here of putting yourself in a position where you want so badly not to have to rely on other people that you're just going to have to do it anyway. And you're going to have to end up picking up other people's slack. And it could snowball a bit here, like if you're so set on being so self-sufficient. So I'm really getting that with the Death card in reverse here and the Eight of Cups in reverse here in the form of advice. Like, really slow down. And don't be too quick to move into this new life. Because like I say, it's all happening in divine timing. And focus more on emotional fulfillment here. And it's like, it might, on the surface, or when you're thinking about it, at first it might seem that being being self-reliant and not having to rely on other people, like, that might be emotionally fulfilling to you. But you spend enough time in that, and you're probably going to get sick of it. Like I was saying before, the Four of Coins might be good at first, but it's like you might want to move on from that a bit quicker than you realize. And I feel like that's why I was called to say that, because it's like, you might be self-sufficient, but then that might just get all too hard. And it's like, the idea of being self-sufficient isn't enough to like emotionally sustain you for the rest of your life potentially. It's just this past energy and this past relationship that is making you feel that way right now, but it's really illusory. I feel like it's really an illusion here that you're creating for yourself, that being self-sufficient and not having to rely on people is the best thing. Like, I feel like you're really setting yourself up to walk into some illusion, and it's not going to be what you think it's going to be. Like, I'm really getting that. So just be really wary of that. And like the moon card was saying, don't let this pride get in your way, and just be open to receiving help, and really start asking yourself, like, if I start to get help, like, how does that make me feel? And just start asking why. Just play the why game. Like, okay, it makes me feel like a burden. Okay, why? Well, then because other people have to help me, and okay, well, why, you know? And just keep asking yourself why. Every time you have an answer, just say why, and try and get deeper and deeper to the source of where this issue is coming from, and it could be different for everybody. And another thing too, like, it's important to remember that if somebody else is helping you and is giving you something, keep in mind that they might be getting something out of it that you're not seeing. Like, if you're very focused on the material currently and creating material stability for yourself, you might think, well, okay, if somebody else has to help me with my money, or if I need to, I don't know, if I need somewhere to stay, or, yeah, it could be, it's just different for everybody. But if you feel like somebody needs to help you in the material and you're putting them out, I'm just getting that there's things there that you might not see, and that person that is helping you, they might really be getting something out of it that you're not thinking about if you're just focused on the material. Like, maybe this person that can help you, like, I really feel like if you slow down and you stop doing so much, I really feel like there's help available to you. Because that Five of Pentacles card, if you look at the card, the people who are out in the cold, they're walking right past the church that would take them in if they asked for help or asked for a place to stay. So I feel like it might be important for you to really slow down and think about, well, what are my options here and where can I get that help? And going back to what I was saying, this person or this hypothetical situation that might provide you with that help, they may have more than enough physical wealth and abundance. And maybe they just want to share it, but they haven't found a way to share it. Like, maybe they're lonely, and maybe they need emotional fulfillment, and maybe sharing their wealth with you would give them that emotional fulfillment, or give them that excitement, or give them that sense of purpose in life. Like, don't forget that taking from somebody, if they're willing to give it to you and they want to help you, it could really be giving them something. So if they're giving away their material or their money or a possession or something, they really could be getting something back out of it that you're not seeing if you're too focused on the material here. So I'll pull a few moon cards and a few earth magic cards, and I'm just going to ask a question. Is there anything here that the collective needs to know? Because this reading's sort of been going along a bit longer than I kind of realized. So I'm going to ask, is there anything here that the collective needs to know before I sign off? And then we can pull another animal spirit card and we can call it. But I really feel like there's a transformation that's happening here. And just don't be afraid to ask for help, because there's more that's happening here that you don't see. And I'm getting that you are a spiritual person, and you understand that there's more to life than the 3D. But it can be so easy to fall back into that trance, and there's so much messaging and matrix programming around gaining stability in the 3D a certain way. Just stay open and really reevaluate your relationship with help, giving help and accepting help. And you will be that person that can help people. I'm not denying that, and it's good to get things done. But there might be more things that are needed here on this journey of yours. And it's going to help you in the long term, and it's going to give you a higher understanding. So before we sign off here, is there anything else that the collective needs to know that we're not seeing here? You're very close to achieving your goal. Like, you are closer than you think here. Be bold and make the first move. The end of a tough cycle approaches. Take time to breathe out. Meditate and contemplate. Okay, so I'm getting meditation is really important here. So if you can find 15 minutes a day or 10 minutes a day just to sit and receive insights, that is going to be really helpful for you here. But this move you're trying to make, it's happening. And this could just be like one of the last things that you need to deal with. Is this relationship that you have with help and accepting help. Really thinking about how that makes you feel. And instead of focusing on taking action, and then when you're not taking action, potentially distracting yourself by looking at other things. The emotions, they're so important here. And it's not necessarily the right move to try and put them away or push them away for now. Because they're gonna tell you things. And the emotions are messages. Like they are your body telling you what you want and you don't want. And there's just so much that can be learned from really listening to your emotions here. So what more do we need to know that we're not seeing? Wind activation. Whale breach. I'm getting being seen is a good thing for you. Maybe, you know what I'm getting to? Try doing the opposite of what you've been doing. And try really being seen as someone who needs help. And just see what happens. I'm getting that vulnerability is going to create a lot of movement for you here. Because with here, mountain strength, I'm getting that if you can be vulnerable in asking for help and confident and not feel bad asking for help, it's going to make you such a strong person and potentially a more well-rounded person. And I'm getting that there's a part of you here that needs to be activated. And it may be that part of you that needs help. And what I'm getting to is that maybe there's been a part of you that's not fully conscious that has always felt wrong asking for help or relying on other people. And potentially, this might not be you, but potentially, if you feel on a vibrational level that it's wrong to ask for help, or you don't want to be a burden, or that you don't want to have to rely on other people, you're then going to attract these transactional relationships, conditional relationships, where you're technically getting what you believe. There's a need here to be really honest with what your beliefs are around accepting help. Because if you believe that you're not worthy of accepting help, or that you don't want to really accept help, when you do need help, you're going to attract people that mistreat you, or there's some kind of a catch here, I'm getting. But if you can reevaluate it and really reprogram yourself into knowing that it's okay to ask for help and it's okay to rely on people sometimes, because that's life, then you're going to attract more wholesome relationships where you can rely on other people for help, whether it be help in the physical stability with money. And the relationships are going to be more flowing, and both parties are going to get something out of it that's positive, and it's not going to turn into this toxic mess that I know that you don't want to go back to, or that has really reinforced these negative beliefs. So I'm going to pull one more animal card that's been pre-shuffled, and I imagine it's going to give us some closing thoughts and insights into all of this. And I pull the Our Spirit in reverse. You see clearly now in reverse. So I'm just going to read what that has to say. If I can pick up the correct book, I will read what it has to say. The number 43 might be significant here. 34, I did mention 9 and 333 earlier. If you flip this upside down, this 43, you sort of get the 34, which is the 9th triangular number. So 9 could really be significant here, and I feel like you're at the end of something. And there's definitely a higher understanding that's happening here. So this message says, are you feeling overwhelmed and overpowered by all that you are sensing? Are you highly sensitive right now and in information overload, feeling too much and taking in too much stimulation? The antidote for overwhelm is to become grounded and return to your safe nest, so wisdom can offer you clarity and guide you on managing the flow. Managing the flow. Take a break to ground yourself in the reality of your everyday senses. Go for a walk in nature. Perhaps you can stop to lie on the ground or hug a tree, or just stroll down the street beneath the soothing sky so that you can regroup and clear your energy field. Your wisdom and ability to make sense of all you are feeling and experiencing will return, as our spirit reminds you of your need to get clear. So I did speak before about the need for self-care and nurturing those emotions, which I really think is that our card would suggest that that's going to come first from getting grounded, and that's really going to give you the clarity here that you seek. So if there's anything that you're unsure of, or any details that you're not seeing or you don't want to see, being grounded, it appears, will be the first step here. And I really feel like everything is going to open up for you, and you're going to get the answers that you need. So please remember that it's okay to ask for help, and Source will always help you and have your back. And it's like, I know that you want to be someone that helps people. So really think about that spectrum of energy. And instead of worrying about where you fall on that spectrum and really wanting to be seen a certain way, just know that everything's okay and it's happening in divine timing, and you are moving into this new place of stability, but it may really serve you to reevaluate how it's going to happen and letting go of some of that control. So I really hope. Sorry, my words are everywhere today. I don't know if you noticed. I'm kind of stumbling all over the place, and I don't know, like, it could be this throat chakra thing, like really just needing to ask for help. And as soon as the topic of asking for help comes up, it's like, I don't know what to say. But I really do hope that this reading helped you. And if this reading resonated with you, feel free to share your story with me in the comments or via message. But in any case, I really do appreciate you sharing the space with me. And thanks again. I hope that it helped. And I will see you in the next one.